I'm gonna keep refreshing on my side here. Yep, we are back. Let me get this out of our way here. Go away. Go away. There we go. Okay, we're back. All right. I'm still trying to set up everything again. We lost some power at my place, so I have to reset everything, but I just wanted to get the stream going so we can at least keep track of what's going on here as I get the UI and everything coming back. There we go. It's updating now. Sorry about that, folks. We did lose a little bit of that race there, but it doesn't look like the lineup has changed too terribly much in my absence. At least the front three look the same. Still trying to get everything set up here. There we go. Now we can come back over here. We can get rid of that. All right, we got one computer working again. We've got race control back up. I need to go get this. My co-commentator's having technical difficulty as well. It's all over the place today, folks. Tom, if you're listening to the stream, move to a different one. I can't drag you from there. Okay, hopefully he sees that. I'm going to keep working on getting things back up and running. There he goes. And we're back. All right.
Hi.
We're getting there. Commentary's a little lax right now, folks, because I am still trying to get everything set back up. There we go. Got some... Man, it's getting spicy in that front three. Andre Alfonso, Matt Byrne, and Jeff Spangler still duking it out.
That's right. And so in the interim, I was watching, and I'm for sure it was very, very tight. Jeff getting a lot of heat from Matty Byrne, and some cars having some incidents down towards turn one, just going a little bit wide, and the exit of the last turn as well. I saw at least one car meeting the concrete or the safer barrier on the exit there. So still plenty going on, but we are 2 3/4 minutes from the opening of the pit windows. So anyone who's been in the pit so far, there has been a few cars that have had to come in and repair damage. We've got the 5 car of Roadside Cookie currently turned around. Oh, I'm just watching him reverse down. Okay, I think he's okay. He's managed to make it back, get it flipped back around. So heart and mouth for a moment there, but the field spreading just a little bit. But as these pit stops begin to happen, we're gonna get a heck of a lot of strategy coming into play.
Indeed we are, as I'm still trying to set things up. Sorry again, folks. Tom, thank you so much for being here. This would be a much more dull stream without you.
You're very, very, very welcome.
Alright, let's almost back in here with the other computer, and then we're gaming again.
I guess the two fights up front, it's kind of a two pairs of cars of Jeff Spangler, Matty Byrne, Andre Alfonso, and Daniel Wright being the second pair. Andrew Sear just made his way past Nick Schwartz there. Similarly, DJ Bautista past... okay, I want to get this right. Mark Gunhuizen? I'm going to go with Mark...
Ooh, yeah, that's a tough one. We're gonna go with yours. Oh, and where is Andre Alfonso? He seems to have fallen back a little bit there.
He is indeed. Yeah, it looks like he might have just had an issue, or perhaps on the exit of the last turn.
Pulling up the replay right here for the stream. We went back 30 seconds. There's contact between him and Tommy Kogan, it looks like, actually.
That is unfortunate. I'm not going to call it on one viewing, but might have been a bit of a racing incident.
That's what it looks like to me. That didn't look too bad. Definitely seen worse.
So it was, yeah, Daniel Wright, I think, has paid a little bit more severely for that contact. Andre was able to hold it in third, which is quite impressive. But he wasn't turned around.
All right, there is the pit window open now. Drivers will have, I believe it's the next 20 minutes to serve a pit stop. I believe tires are required. Here, we're gonna look at this. Okay, just gotta center that real quick, and then we're back in business. There we go. All right, we almost have a stream put back together, ladies and gentlemen. Got some more motion on the grid there. Tim Wilkins losing a position. Eric Gottsacker and Timmy Wilkins picking up the spot.
Does look like Roadside Cookie got away with that spin without ever touching the wall. From what I can see, he doesn't have any damage on that Mercedes, so he might opt for an early pit stop at this point if he feels as though he's got quite a lot more pace to find some clear air and go for the is it the undercut? Hang on, I should know.
When you go in for an undercut, but we've got, ooh, Matt Byrne looks up the inside of Jeff Spangler. Jeff Spangler closes off the gap, defends his apex. I think we're going to ride on board with this McLaren here just for a little bit. Although Tommy Kogan looking like he's getting ready to make some moves as well. Yeah, he's very close to the back of Tony Giordano in the Aston Martin in front now.
Tony was the car that I noticed going, well, contacting, sideswiping the barrier earlier on, so I imagine he's carrying a little bit of damage, but sometimes, you know, if it's side on, you can kind of get away with it. GT3 cars are quite error sensitive though, so take that with a grain of salt.
Very true, very true.
Matt, he'll feel tantalizingly close, and he's going for the move. That was a surprising dive just coming out of turn 1 and into turn 2. Incredible that he made that move stick, but I think Jeff saw him coming and gave him the space. Jeff now trying to get the, sorry, I got the turns wrong there, but now we're heading into turn 1, and Jeff trying to take the slipstream. He's just going to sit behind for the time being. Could be that with pit stops coming up, Jeff thinks he'll leave it for now and wait until the pit stop cycle is done. Spencer Brown has just made his way past Andrew Sears, so
yep, Andrew Sear in the pits
little
now.
moves going on. I see, yes.
Those pit stops are starting, and I've got the timer so I can let you guys know how long everybody spent in the pits. So far, looks like Billy Carlin with a 49-second pit stop. Probably some damage to repair there. Also learned something. There is sometimes an R next to the pit timer. That means the driver had to back up in order to get into their pit stop. Looks like that's the misfortune that Billy Carlin ran into. Something I have done many times for sure.
Yeah.
See Will here getting pretty close to Tim Wilkins. And Andre Lloyd as well, closing up the gap to Joshua Kimball. With just a half-second separating those two now. And we will have to disregard the position delta we've been seeing here. It does seem to have gotten, it forgot where everybody started at. So basically when I rejoined the race, that's where they started the race, of course, to the broadcasting app. So we'll just have to ignore those, at least for this race. Tommy Kogan making the pass happen on Tony Giordano there. With pretty commanding pace here, now 1.2 seconds between the two of them. Also got Andre Lloyd and Joshua Kimball getting pretty close now, coming down the straight down into turn 1. We'll see. Andre Lloyd is close enough to maybe try something here. He's a little bit of that Porsche magic. He might be able to get him on the next corner. No, he's just going to stay right on top of him, maybe wait for a mistake there. Still a lot of this race left, 34 minutes to go here at Indianapolis.
And Andre Lloyd is another car with just a little bit of front-end damage. I actually misidentified earlier. It was Andre Lloyd who collected Jan Stam when Jan was facing perpendicular to the agreed traveling direction of the race circuit. But Alan Zhu has been in the Porsche for so long, forever and ever and ever, that I quite forgot that he wasn't in a brightly colored Porsche this season. So his arm was twisted, and he is driving a Mercedes this season.
Yeah, it's definitely, and there's a couple of those. Roadside Cookie's another one that we were talking about in qualifying. Is notorious Lamborghini driver, and we see him out in the AMG this season. So it's gonna be an interesting season. A lot of people in cars we don't necessarily get to see them in too often. Matt Burnwick working his way around the first blue flag of his race. Looks like Jeff Spangler is going to be next in line to give that a shot. And Andre Lloyd and Joshua Kimball getting very close again. Coming into turn 1, these two drivers have remarkably similar pace. Oh, it looks like there may have been a little bit of contact between Brian Katz and Jeff Spangler. Doesn't look like it was too major if there was any.
It's really, really tricky, and we are kind of getting into that part of the race where, particularly if you're further back in the field and going for an early pit stop, then the blue flags tend to come a little bit sooner. So for the front guys, you know, they need to make their way through the lap drivers, and for the lap drivers, they need to be conscious of any cars who are coming up from behind, really.
Yeah, and it can be tricky. Fortunately, Indianapolis is a pretty big circuit, so should be a lot of room to, you know, facilitate those passes, but you never know. Sometimes people get impatient. An hour is a long time to be focusing on a race. And things are definitely heating up between Joshua Kimball and Andre Lloyd again.
Daniel Wright then is the first of the top 10 to be heading into the pit. I wonder what's on his mind. He's in a very appropriately colored red, white and blue car McLaren for this season.
You actually see him just there behind the tower on camera. The red, white and blue all over mini season. Now's the time to rock the stars and stripes. Especially here at Indianapolis, home of the Indianapolis 500. One of the most famous races here in the country.
That's it. And just looking at, I don't know if we would have, of course, mentioned it in previous seasons if you were with us, but on the back of Joshua Kimball's car on the mods livery there, we've got the nice punt equals ban. A threat to anyone who might be sitting behind. In this instance, it's Andre Lloyd. So, Andre, if you're listening, good luck.
Yep, and it is, as we can see on board with Andre right now, He is close enough to read it. I'm sure he's thinking about it. Tony Giordano into the pits now. Maybe a second of our top 10 to do their mandatory pit. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's go ahead and get back over here. There we go. Joshua Kimball gets almost a little bit too hot into that corner, but gets it back under control for the next one. And these two drivers are going to continue another lap in the same order. Makes me wonder who's going to go for the pit stop first. It may be time for one of these drivers to consider an undercut.
Absolutely, and I think the thing about sim racing that is makes it almost more difficult than real racing, if we can say that, is that you are a one-man team. You know, these guys are doing strategy. They're trying to adjust their fuel and tire pressures for the pits. Some of them. So there's a lot to think about, and sometimes it can be you can just take a tiny little distraction from the driving itself, and you have a mistake on your hands. So not an easy thing to be juggling.
Oh man, Andre really wanted to go for the inside there, but Joshua Kimball gets the AMG on the apex just in time to fend off the pass.
Yeah, Josh, not very forgiving. He'll fight for sure.
Well, that's what we want to see. I want to see close battles. I want to see action. Make it happen, drivers. Oh man, right as I pull away the picture-in-picture, these two cars get basically right on top of one another. Oh my goodness. Andre Lloyd fighting for every inch that he can get on Joshua Kimball, hoping to line up the pass, but that AMG is just so quick in a straight line.
And you saw that the Mercedes was just a bit slower mid-corner. He sort of slowed it down in the apex. Andre closed in, and it looked as though he was going to have a really good overlap on the exit, but then you know the big engine in the Mercedes just kicked in and was able to pull away. And Andre just a little bit wide there, so as he's pushing to keep on the back of Josh, he's just, you know, the odd small mistake kicking in.
Daniel Lund pushing for a pass here on Nick Schwartz, now inside of half a second, looking at a quarter second coming around this corner now.
Jeff Spangler and Andre Alfonso both in the pits now.
I see that. It looks like Jeff Spangler was the first one in. Andre Alfonso starting just after him. I'll be watching this timer to see who gets the better stop. Daniel Lund now in striking distance of Nick Schwartz, goes for the inside. We'll see if he goes late on the brakes. No, he's going to slot in behind the leading BMW there.
Yeah, he looks to be taking his time, being very patient.
Both Jeff Spangler and Andre Alfonso off the jacks at the same time, folks.
Okay, I want to see
car
this
number
race.
Car number 5 disqualified for speeding in the pit lane.
That is roadside cookie.
Oh.
Very unfortunate. I will tell you what happened if I can look at the replay here.
Looks like, again, Andre Lloyd and Joshua Kimball both into the pits at the same time. So a lot of these drivers opting to stick with their competitor. It looks like the 88 car picks up a penalty for speeding in pit lane. That is going to be Jeff Spangler. The first one out of the pits is going to have to serve another one now. And he slots in right behind the AMG there of Tim Wilkins. And we can tell his tires are still cold there, going just a little bit wide there. He's going to open up the door for Andre Alfonso to get out in front, and that's exactly what he does.
I'd say that opportunity was there for Andre, and he took it with both hands. No hesitation.
Also looks like Nick Schwartz and the number 10 car BMW right behind him. Very, very close to one another. I believe that was a blue flag pass there. Looks like Andre Lloyd going to be the first one off the jacks between him and Joshua Kimball. Or excuse me, no, Joshua Kimball just leaves the pit lane. Excuse me. With what looks to be a much shorter pit stop there. We'll have the final timer once the Porsche of Andre Lloyd leaves the pit stop, or pit lane, excuse me. Yeah, almost an extra 20 seconds on that pit stop for Andre Lloyd. Not sure if he was repairing damage or what happened there.
Just looking back at the replay, yeah, that's such a shame for Jeff Spangler to have the stop and go 30 there, and looking, unfortunately due to technical issues, I don't have the complete replay, but I have to assume that Roadside Cookie must have been comprehensively over speed on pit entry, because his exit was completely fine, and then as soon as he reached pit exit, he was issued that disqualification.
Let me see if I've got it over on my other monitor here. Oh, okay, I know that was two people going into the pits there. I thought I just saw two cars miss a corner behind Spencer Brown, and they are just they're just serving their pit stop like they're supposed to, and I'm out of my mind. Let's see if I can't get that replay of what happened to Roadside Cookie over here.
We have just over 3.5 minutes remaining on the pit window, so anyone who is not already pitted, Max Santenlap, Nick Schwartz, Daniel Lund, and Tim Wilkins, Eric Goldsack, and Jan Stam, they will have to get it done within around about the next 3 minutes. Otherwise, a penalty comes their way. But I'm sure they'll be looking to go as long as possible. That's in fact Nick Schwartz and Daniel Lund both in now. So for sure, a lot of at least those drivers going for the overcut. And I know some people really do like to push it as long as humanly possible. Start with more fuel, and they'll have a bit of a lighter tank compared to the beginning of the race, leaving the pits now. So
I'm watching the replay right now of Roadside Cookie's pit entry here. So that's the onboard we're listening to right now. And that'll be on the picture-in-picture screen up there in your window. So far, it looks clean. And we'll be watching his speed. It needs to be below 60 or 50, if I remember correctly. Ooh, that was very close. Oh, he let off his pit. He let off his pit limiter.
Oh, did he then go a lot faster in the pit?
It looks like it.
Before the box? Okay, because I have honestly, I don't remember a time that I've seen that. Perhaps it was marginal and was just enough to trigger a disqualification, but ordinarily you would expect to stop and go 30.
That's what I would be looking for, but yeah, unfortunately, that is not what happened.
A shame. So Max Santenlap, having cycled to the front before his pit stop, has come in, and it'll be interesting to see where he comes back out. Same for Tim Wilkins. So there's still a minute on the pit timer. I think everyone's good. We've got a tower full of green, and everyone will have completed their mandatory pit stops.
looking around the field for somebody who's battling for position. It looks like Daniel Wright may be the closest one. Chasing down Tommy Kogan 2 seconds out in front is going to be a battle of the Audis.
Ooh, and I was about to say that Mark Grunhuisen,
I think, yeah, I think it's Grunhuisen.
Has DJ Bautista quite close to him. But DJ did just have a little bit of off track. Having said that, it's still between the Porsche and the BMW. There is not much of a gap, so everyone on fresh tires with fuel, hopefully to last them to the end of the race. They could be closing that gap in quite it's a second and a half.
We've got some shout outs in the chat. We've got one for you. We've got Let's Go Tom. And then another one says, Go Exia, win this one for me. That's going to be Eric Gottsacker on screen right now. And the number 19 McLaren, currently running in P16. Things are heating up. We're starting to get some people close to one another again. I see Jeff Spangler is catching up to some folks, and he has served his pit stop. We've also got DJ Bautista catching up to Mark Grunhuisen. Grunhuisen? Oh man, I'm gonna keep... Mark, if you watch this video, at the end of the race, you watch the replay, and you hear me butchering your name, this is an open invitation to everybody. DM me, or call me out in the ACC Gen chat, tell me how to pronounce your name. I want to get it right. But I'm American and I'm stupid, so... Big, long last names are scary to me.
So, okay, I think the guy to watch for at least a little while is gonna be Jeff Spangler, because we know he should be at the front right now, but he has taken his second stop and go, and he is right up behind Josh Kimball. And I think Josh will know that Jeff obviously has the pace, but I think, yeah, Jeff's on the inside, and I think it's done. Like, I kind of expected Josh to fight a bit, because track position is track position.
Yeah, there's also, I don't know, I am of the mind that yes, if it is for position, you probably, or I would say not even just entitled, I would say you're obligated to trying to defend the position, but if that was me in front of Jeff Spangler, I'd be getting out of his way. At the end of the day, you pretty much both are guaranteed to lose time, because I'm focusing on defending a car that's way faster than me, and a car that's way faster than me is trying to get around.
I think the exception to that is if you are not sure if the other car has damage. You know, sometimes
For sure.
There's been times where I haven't defended as hard as I should have, and you know, the person hasn't been able to really make a break, and then you find yourself in a battle again. So it's, you don't always know, but in this instance, yeah, Jeff has the pace, and the other exception is if you are in the dying seconds of a race, it's a no-brainer.
Max Lap going for a pass on the inside there. Ferrari is able to use the speed on the outside to get around, and now too wide going around the corner. A very brave lunge for the Ferrari on the outside there. Andrew Sear right behind him, getting a perfect shot of the action. We've got some more shout-outs in the chat. We got Train Boy saying, I need to get this DLC finally. Yeah, you really do. Adding Coda, Indianapolis, and Watkins Glen was a massive addition to this game, and we watched the Ferrari go off wide, which is going to allow Max Lap and Andrew Sear to make a pass. Speaking of Andrew Sear, shout out in the chat to Sear, his brother, got him into sim racing. Snuffleupagus. Why aren't you on track then? If you're into sim racing, get in here, brother. Come on. You got common cold. No Bentley on the grid makes me sad. You know, we were actually talking about that a little bit ago. Good to see Alfonso up front. He had a lot of bad luck in Season 6. True that, and it looks like his luck may have transferred over to Jeff Spangler. We'll see what he's able to do with it, having to serve a stop-and-go 30 after being the race leader for a significant chunk of the race. And then we've also got Train Boy saying, good to see Madhouse is still here. Yeah, the boys are back. We've got a lot of returning faces here at Apollo Racing Club. Definitely exciting to see some old friends joining us again for this mini-series. Red, white, and blue all over as we are celebrating the release of the new American Track DLC there for from Kunos. Now, if only we could get Road America Kunos. Come on, make it happen. The licensing fees are worth it.
Road America, Mid-Ohio. I mean, there's so many. Sebring, maybe?
Sebring would be a game changer.
There are a lot of. I mean, I don't know if the GT circuit goes to VIR. That's another really good circuit. So
yeah, I don't think GT races there, but I would still love to see it here. Well, that and what'll be really interesting in the near future is that Laguna Seca is getting rebuilt, kind of, or it's getting a lot of work done. I know they're resurfacing it. So it'll be interesting to see if AC or if Kunos gets out there and gets the new laser scans of it and updates the track along with that. It'd be super cool to see.
6th, 7th, and 8th place are it's what we have on screen at the moment. They're still pretty tight there.
We got VIR is in GT America, so we do race there. So yeah, we need to get VIR and ACC as well. Let's get them all in there. Every single one of those tracks are great tracks, especially Sebring, man. I would, now that we've got Watkins Glen, if we add, or Watkins Glen and Coda, honestly, if we get Road America and Sebring in there, we've got like all of my favorite tracks from the States.
Yeah, I know there's definitely some more, but they escape me as of right now. So Matt Byrne is making his way through traffic at the moment. Jeff Spangler has quite a big gap to 11th place, so if he can make that up, it would be certainly he's on a salvage job right now.
Sonoma, that's the one I was forgetting, chat. Thank you. Yeah, Sonoma would be very fun. Man, that hairpin at the end and cars with downforce, would be interesting. There is not an AM split this season. We have opted to go for a single split just because of the amount of work that had to go into getting those splits set up. It was easier with a smaller grid just to throw everybody in the same class. But yeah, it looks like this battle for 6th is going to be the one to watch for a little while. We've got Matt Byrne working his way through the pack. We'll be checking back in with him when he gets a little closer to another car.
I want to point out Eric Goldsacker. If you can get him on screen right now, he is drawn up to the back of Mark Grunhuysen rather rapidly. I don't know if there was an off track, but this is going to be something to watch for the foreseeable future.
And we'll keep him right there. Or actually, what we're gonna do. Let's do that, and boom. All right, now we can watch both. We're gonna watch Eric Gottsacker and Andrew Sear here. Both of them trying to fight for their positions. Andrew Sear under a little bit of pressure. And Eric Gottsacker getting ready to apply some pressure to the car out in front. Both battles for position. Jeff Spangler now has the fastest lap of the race, 1:35.4, getting real close to his qualifying pace. A 5-second or a 20-second gap to the next car is going to be Spencer Brown out in front. And we'll see how quickly he's able to whittle that away. With 11 minutes here at Indianapolis left to go, it'll be interesting to see if he can salvage at least another position. move himself up into 11th, and then maybe have a top 10 finishing hope. We'll see.
Anything can happen. I think the thing that needs to be at the front of your mind when you're trying to salvage what you can from a race is that you don't know what's going to happen to the people up ahead of you. So if you let off and end up having a spun car ahead of you and then finishing a second behind, you'll wish you'd been setting hot laps. So he's just, like I say, he's at the fastest lap just now, so he's just going to be going as fast as he can until the end of the race.
Max Sunkenlap getting awfully close to Andrew Sear just behind, and now Eric Gottsacker looking for a pass on the inside. Not enough straight to make it happen, but he is now well within striking distance of that Porsche in front of him.
Very contrasting lines, and he made that look very easy there. He just was able to carry the speed on the inside, and Andrew Sear fighting straight back, sending it up the inside. Matt can see he's there. They're going side by side.
I believe the Lexus is going to have it, though. Let's see.
He's taken such a tight line that the Porsche is able to get a good exit. They're still side by side. Meanwhile, Eric Gottsacker and his car across the track in the picture.
Oh, Andrew Sear goes for the inside, but the Lexus just has too much speed. That was close to an accident. That was almost some rubbing his racing, and Eric Gottsacker does make the pass happen there on the on 15th place there, the number 333 car. Yeah,
Mac was committed to the apex at that point, and I think Andrew, realizing that, just was fully 100% on the anchors there to try to back out of it, and that obviously impedes you quite a lot for the exit. But right behind them, is that a black car? No, that's, excuse me. Yeah, it's Julio Ortiz.
Yep.
Just behind. So this two-car battle is turning into a three-car battle quite rapidly.
We've got the perspective of Julio Ortiz there on the picture-in-picture, watching this three-car battle from the back of it. See, there's a couple of rough exits there is going to allow those other two cars to get out just a little bit in front of him, so we'll check back in on that here in just a bit.
Yes, it can be really tempting when you've got cars so close to you, close up ahead, that to just start pushing and trying to hot lap essentially. But what can happen sometimes is that you just get a little bit rough around the edges, trying to steal a tenth here and there, and you end up losing half a second. So smooth is fast. For Julio, I want to just stay in touch, see what happens.
Looking around the grid, we also have Timmy Wilkins getting pretty close to netting himself a position, trying to catch up to another AMG. It's going to be C. Will out in front of him in the number 303 AMG. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's go ahead and do... Actually, no, I don't want to take our eyes off, because just as I was starting to say that the gap is closer with the other battle, Andrew Sear finds a couple of tenths on Max Sunkenlap out in front in the Lexus, and may be able to have another shot at him on the straightaway. This Porsche seems to be able to carry much more speed around that corner into the front straight, and it is going to be real close between these two, as Tim Wilkins also very close down the front straight, trying to catch up to his car. You also see Julio Ortiz starting to close up the gap there now. Let's go ahead. We're gonna watch over on the big screen. Let's go ahead and watch this battle between Timmy Wilkins and C. Will, as it is getting very, very close between these two. And it really is just a battle of waiting to see who is going to make the first mistake, to be completely honest with you. With not a lot of time left in this race, just a hair over 5.5 minutes, maybe 3 laps left in this race. You got to be really careful with the chances you take, because if you take one and it goes poorly, your race is over. There's no time left to recover. But on the other side, you don't have a lot of time left to be making these moves, so you got to make every second count. Makes for an interesting balancing act as you get to the end of these races here. But Timmy Wilkins fighting for every inch of track he can try and get on the AMG out in front. He is slowly reeling him in, coming into the last 3-4 corners of this track here. Looks like he may have overbroken just a little bit there. You can see in the background the other battle that we're watching right now between Andrew Sear and Max Sunkenlap. I'm not sure if Tim Wilkins is running lower wing or what, but he sure did catch up on that straight.
Yeah, if you're in an AMG, the car that you want ahead of you to punch a hole in the air is most likely another AMG, and he gets quite a good exit there, but unfortunately it's kind of a... It's not a double apex, but he's poking his nose down sort of at the entry to every single corner. He knows he's a little bit faster at this point in the race. Just needs to prepare the move and
there it is,
get
maybe.
Past. He's just a little bit late.
Yeah, he's backed out. He may have been able to stick it if he had let the car coast, but that would have been very risky. That other AMG was onto him.
Yeah, I think he really needs to take stock and just stay behind. You know, you can lose time quite easily when the move is sort of 50-50. Getting another run, and he's got a nice slipstream again. Looking behind it, it seems as though the battle between Max Sunkenlap and Andrew Sear is just spacing out a little bit. I don't know if Andrew had a slow lap or two. Does look like his Porsche is getting a little bit twitchy on the front end. That might just be how it is, because the Porsche can be a bit of a handful sometimes.
Especially as you get to the latter stages of the race and your tires running out and your fuel especially is starting to run light. That car can be a lot to try and handle. It's basically like driving an entirely different car.
Yeah, and a while back we had an endurance race at Porsche Ricard event. We were all in Porsches, and that was, for me, that I don't know if it was psychological, but it was noticeable, where it feels almost like a tire drop off, because as the weight comes off the front, the characteristics change quite a lot. So you're trying to move the brake balance, try to do different things to just maintain control.
And now we've got Max Sunkenlap catching up to this battle between Tim Wilkins and C. Will now. Less than a minute and a half to go now.
And we see the blue flag there, but this isn't Formula One. We've said it before. Tim is not obligated to get out of Mac's way. So for Mac, obviously, he doesn't want to be slowed down and have the car that he's battling close back in on him. He wants to make his way past him and who's ahead? Sorry. C. Will, of course. I as quickly as possible, but now Tim is having to back out of his battle, and he's paying the price a little bit. So he can tag onto those guys and use them to get dragged back up to the rear of Seawill.
And there is the announcement. The leader is on a final lap, so he is out of time to wait now. He is going to have to fight for that 1.5 gap to try and catch up to Seawill. We'll see if he's able to pull it off, but he is taking your advice and kind of letting the results of those faster cars passing the other car drag him up back into competition here. What was 1.5 seconds was down to half second, back up to 1 second. But he will have another lap of this race to try and catch up and close that gap down. Excuse me, I got hiccups.
The small gap in the dying moments of this race is between Daniel Lund and Nick Schwartz for 8th and 9th places. And still, it's just over a second for Nick, but Tim is getting very, very close to Seawill again, and they've got Andrew Sear on the inside because Andrew looks to have made a mistake potentially on the exit of the last corner, so Andrew's going to have to tuck in there, and Tim is side by side. This is where he needs to be heading into turn 1.
Yep, on the inside, he'll have the apex. Oh, but he backs out of it.
Load. That was, I think he might have just been wary of the fact that there was a little bit of overspeed, but he was also not on the familiar entry line to that corner, so he's just washing out a little bit, and now Andrew is there. If Andrew has the
Daniel Lund right behind the race. Oh, and we've got a yellow flag waving. Is going to be DJ Bautista, it looks like, facing the wrong way around. May have just spun. Not sure what happened there, but Porsche gets very close to him. But real quick, oh man, there's too many battles going on. I want to go congratulate the race winner, but this race is not over yet, folks. Daniel Lund and Andrew Sear still duking it out as Andrew Sear gets that inside apex and gets out in front of him to try and get the next one. And that might be spelling an end to Daniel Lund's 7th place finishing hopes, but there's still a couple more corners left, some tricky ones on the circuit, in less than a half a second between the two of them. It'll be interesting to see what they do with this. Nick Schwartz also entering the battle here, closing in on a second now on them, now right on top of them. Go ahead and we'll get that out of the way.
Seawill is having to let all of these cars past, and I
almost don't know what to say about the way this race ended. I guess I've seen it all. I don't know. That was very interesting. There was a lot of yielded positions. Maybe just folks hoping that they finish this race and, well, they finished the race. But big congratulations to Matt Byrne in the 333 Racing McLaren, going to be snagging first place pretty commandingly. Andre Alfonso in second place, Tommy Kogan in a hard-fought third, Daniel Wright in fourth, Tony Giordano, a returning face here at Apollo Racing Club, making a strong appearance with a 5th place finish, Max Sundenlap in 6th, Andrew Sear in a hard-fought 7th, Daniel Lund in a well-earned 8th place, Nick Schwartz in 9th, and Spencer Brown to close out our top 10. But worth mentioning, Jeff Spangler, after picking up a stop-and-go 30, finishes with a point for the fastest lap and does secure 11th place for himself. And that is going to be our race this week, folks, here at Indianapolis. Little bit of technical difficulties splitting up the broadcast a little bit, but we still happen to catch a ton of action. If you're joining us for the first time, make sure you hit that follow button. We have races every night of the week here at Apollo Racing Club. Everything from Assetto Corsa F1, so the old-fashioned F1 to Codemasters F1. I think we've got a dirt rally night. We've got IndyCar. There's everything. Thursday nights, we even race BMW M2. So if that sounds at all interesting to you, go ahead and follow us. Join the Discord. Get involved. We welcome everybody here at Apollo Racing Club, and we would love to see bigger grids. Yeah, that's going to do it for us this week. Next week, we will be at Circuit of the Americas down in the great state of Texas here in the States. Going to be an exciting race if we can get this many cars on the grid again. It is a long track, so we're going to want to see as many people as we can. But yeah, that's it for this week, folks. We hope to catch you next week. We'll be at Circuit of the Americas. Tom, thank you so much for joining me. You helped out a ton, even in the face of some technical difficulty. It was a pleasure having you in here. I'm Matt McAdams. We will talk to you guys next week here at Apollo Racing Club. Thanks for watching, everybody.